Yeah, we're all branded up. Look at that. That's
And
awesome, man.
it's the most branded episode ever. All right, we are back. We got another special episode of Cigar Talk Toronto. And not only is this his first time ever in Canada, but we got Todd, the owner of Croatian Mafia Cigars. Todd, welcome to the studio
Thank you, my man. Pleasure to
and
be here.
welcome to Canada.
Yeah, thank you, man. It was a long trek from
You
Dallas.
are our first international in-house guest.
Thank you. So I flew into Buffalo and then with my good friend and business partner, Mike Crispin, we drove up here, made a stop at a shop called Village Cigars, picked up some cigars on the way up that we couldn't usually find in the United States. And
Okay, shout out to Village Cigars.
yeah,
And they're in Oakville,
yes,
out in Oakville. So check them out, Village Cigars in Oakville.
and here we are, man. Glad to be here.
It's great to have you here. And again, it's always great to smoke your cigars.
Appreciate that.
They have become probably my favorite line of cigars.
Glad to hear
To
that.
be honest, and I'm not
Yeah.
saying that just because you're here.
Yep.
They are solid cigars from your capo to your boss, your underboss, consigliere, and your soldier.
Yep.
Everything hits you with a different flavor profile. I think you got a blend that could appeal to any cigar smoker, and they're great cigars. So tell us about your cigars.
Yeah. So I'm based out of Dallas, Texas. I'm a U.S. Army veteran. I've been in business, will be 2 years in August, so fairly new
Okay.
and fairly new brand. My cigars come from Esteli, Nicaragua. I partnered with Tabacalera Pichardo, who is a fourth generation Cuban tobacco grower, as most blenders and manufacturers are in Esteli. Esteli's probably got 85 to 100 cigar manufacturers. All your big boys are down there.
Yeah.
But Tabacalera Pichardo and Aradio Pichardo Perez is well known inside the cigar world. He does a lot of sticks for some other brands that I won't name here, but he does a lot of boutique brands too. And I was very fortunate enough to actually meet him and form a partnership with him. It's very interesting on how that all happened, as most of your audience probably would be very interested to hear about the backstory of Croatian Mafia
Yes,
cigars.
yes.
I was a cigar consumer and smoker for many years. Back in the 80s is when I started in the military, when I was stationed in Germany. I think my first cigar was probably Portofino Macanudo.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with
I've
them.
heard Macanudo,
Yeah,
yes.
they used to
I
come in
smoked a couple of
an
them.
aluminum tube,
Yeah.
very mild cigar. Uh, but I played in this weekly poker game at Cigar Warehouse, and all we do is smoke cigars and play poker. And I'm a gambler, lifelong gambler. Uh, the part of my heritage, part of the Croatian heritage.
Yep.
And as we talked about our exploits in this game, I have been to Thailand 3 times. I've been to South America. I lived in Europe. I've lived in 2 countries, 9 states, and 18 cities total. And one of the gentlemen in the card game says, "Hey, you ought to go to Esteli, Nicaragua." So I thought about it. And 2 weeks later, I found myself in Esteli, Nicaragua. And I thought the cigar world down there was very similar to the wine world. And there are a lot of similarities between wine and cigars. But I thought you could go down there. I was naive and thought you could go down there and sample cigars in like a production room or
Yeah.
a retail room and then buy cigars.
Yeah.
Well, that's not how it works. It's a trade-free zone in Esteli, and unless you're in the industry, I found one coffee shop that sold cigars, and they had Hoyas, and they were more expensive than if I bought them off Cigars International
Oh,
online,
wow.
unfortunately. But that led me to a gentleman named Akil who owns a brand called Regis, and he happened to be down there, and he was a friend of the guy that recommended that I go down there in the first place, and
Yep.
he brought me into Tabacalera Pichardo,
Okay.
and I left as a consumer with 300 cigars in my luggage. Uh, I have global entry; they just wave you through. So fortunately, I was able to get 300 cigars in, and I liked the cigars so much that I hit up a radio after that and I said, "Hey, I'm thinking about starting a company. I want to come down and try some specific blends that I want to market." Hadn't come up with a name, hadn't come up with any blends, didn't have a marketing strategy or a business plan. And he said, "Okay, come on down." So I went down and we sat in his conference room and we smoked cigar after cigar, and we drank coffee and ate cookies. And I speak poquito español. My Spanish is not very good. I know all the important words like
That's
cerveza and baño
that's about that's about a quarter of what you need to know.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we sat in his conference room for about 10 hours and we smoked cigar after cigar. We I came up with five different blends and five different vitolas that I thought would be appealing to the not only the cigar aficionado,
Yeah.
but also the not the everyday smoker, right? Not somebody that has a mature palate and that's looking for those that strong nicotine or those bold flavors. So I came up with five different blends and five different vitolas, and I left with 900 cigars again in my luggage. No bands, no boxes.
Yeah.
And I started really selling them to friends and families. The true selling out of your trunk.
Yeah. Yeah. The way a lot of industries kick off is,
Type scenario.
yeah, pop the trunk sale.
Yeah. And then I became legal. I got my LLC. I got licensed by the state of Texas. I developed my website. And to make a long story short, here I am now. I'm in about 35 shops nationwide, different points of distribution. I do custom blends, white label, and that's why I'm actually here today.
So you say you're a gambler.
Yes,
Would you say that it is a gamble starting a cigar company?
that's putting it mildly. There, any business you get into as a consumer and not knowing the back end of the business, it's a huge risk,
Yeah.
and especially so in the cigar world. But I've had car dealerships, I've sold everything underneath the sun, and there's a risk that you take in everything, and there's probably, you know, any business you start, there's a higher probability that you're going to fail than succeed.
Yeah.
And you're going to fail on a lot of things, right? And you miss 100% of the shots you never take.
That's very true.
Right.
And before we dive too deep into anything, let's get these cigars lit
Yep.
because I got this consigliere sitting here and I really want to get it lit. So
I do as well.
let's get these cigars lit
So
and
you're
let's
smoking the my 94 rated consigliere, which is the Sumatra wrapper, and
yep,
then Nicaraguan binders and fillers. And shout out to Boston Jimmy from the Stogie Press. He's actually rated all my cigars, well known in the industry. And I'm going to smoke the Soldier, which is my second iteration. This is of the Soldier. It's a Habano Rosado wrapper and a Cameroon binder, and then Nicaraguan fillers. And this is now in a 6x60 Gordo. It originally came out in the Salaman, as you
yes,
know,
yep.
and that is a very unique Vitola. And some folks can feel intimidated by that just by looking at it and thinking how long it takes to smoke. So I moved this to a 6x60, and actually by doing so, it improved the actual draw of the cigar and the actual cigar experience. So it's a much better cigar, even though it's the same identical blend in a different
Okay.
Vitola.
And we are also going to be drinking some Wayne Gretzky. This is the red cast. This is a whiskey and a red wine barrel. And that's what we're going to be sipping on as well.
And I'm actually drinking that in my coffee, and I'm going to move to drink that out of on the rocks here in a few
And
minutes.
then because this is your first time in Canada, I'm going to do a Newfoundland tradition, and that's screeching you in.
And explain to all of our
So
listeners or viewers that don't know the difference between Newfoundland and Canada.
Newfoundland is the furthest east you can go in Canada. It's an island. It's really its own way of life. And the tradition is your first trip to Newfoundland, you have to get screeched in. So you take a shot of screech and you kiss a cod, which is a fish, which goes back to how screech was developed. They used to trade cod with the Jamaicans for the Jamaican rum.
Ah,
So that's where they got their rum from, and that's where screech came
and
from.
Newfoundland is close to Nova Scotia, or no?
It's about an 8 hour ferry ride from Nova Scotia.
Relatively speaking, that's close in Canada, right?
Yeah, that would be close in Canada. So before we have any whiskey, I'm gonna give you guys a shot of Screech because
Okay, awesome.
we're gonna Screech in Mike as well, who's behind the
And
scenes.
we'll toast to Screech from Saved by the Bell while we're
That's right. And
doing it.
the only question is who wants the dildo one?
I'll give that to Mike. No, that's more appropriate. That's more appropriate.
There's a
to
town
Mike.
in Newfoundland called Dildo.
I'd like to see the mail for that.
It's a nice little town too, actually.
That reminds me of the in Brussels, Belgium, they have the mannequin piss, which is supposedly is the statue of a boy peeing, and he actually saved the town from a flood when he put his finger in the dike.
Right.
There you go.
I can't see how much that's filling. There we go. So how was your drive up here? There you go.
Uneventful. Got to the border, no problem. Made a stop on the way up. Got a little hairy coming in due to the ice and snow, but
Yep.
here we are.
There we go.
Okay, my man. Thank you. And in Croatia, we say Jivali.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I drink that about every 14 years.
I'm not going to say it was smooth,
No, it's
but
not
but
smooth.
it did go down.
And on that note, you're gonna want your whiskey now.
Okay, I think we're good now. Good to go.
We're good now.
So a little bit about
Um,
how I cut my cigars.
okay.
I don't use a traditional V cut. I don't use a traditional cutter. I prefer this little corkscrew here. I
Oh,
tend to
okay.
bite my cigars at the end inadvertently. And to me, one of the worst experiences you can have is tobacco in your mouth
Yeah.
while you're smoking. And my cigars are constructed very well. Pichardo's actually known for his cigar construction. So there are no draw issues with my cigar. So I just use a punch in the end. I know it's kind of unique, but that works for me.
Are you sticking with the coffee and the whiskey for now?
No, I'll take one on
You'll
the,
take a glass?
yeah,
So
yeah,
you want rocks?
yeah, please, sir.
All right. And of course, you got to have Croatian Mafia cigar and glasses to go with the whiskey. So
All about the brand, my man.
that's right.
Successful people will tell you that have a successful brand, you should never leave the house without some type of your brand.
No, it's true.
So here we are.
If you don't promote yourself, who's going to promote you, right?
And especially in this industry, I think your brand and your story are almost as important as your actual quality of your
Yeah, and
cigars.
I'm gonna hide these treats from the cat because he already found a way to get it open. And we're gonna get into your story because I'm very interested in your backstory. Um, if you want to just slide that mic up a little tiny bit,
Yep.
just to ensure
Mhm.
that it is gonna catch everything. There we go. All right. Yeah, I think you got about 20 treats on the floor right there.
Yeah. So I get a lot of inquiries about my name, about the Mafia theme. Yeah, as I stated a little while ago, the brand and the story is very important, and people want to know, what you're all about, where you come from, what's the deal with the Croatian Mafia? Are you part of the Mafia? Does your tobacco come from Croatia? Those type of things, right? And I was in PCA, our annual show. It was in New Orleans last year, Premium Cigar Association, and a lot of people had circled my name on their program. Either they'd been to Croatia, they're Croatian, they served in the military, they wanted to know what it was all about,
Mhm.
right? So my great grandfather actually came in through McKeesport, Pennsylvania in the 1890s, early 1900s, as a lot of Croatians did. National Tube, which is now U.S. Steel, you should actually recruit specifically from Croatia men to work in the steel factories.
Yeah.
They were big in stature, strong, usually had a military background. So for quite some time, they physically recruited. It's not like today where you recruit online. They had somebody over there recruiting people to come over to the United States.
Yeah.
They came in through McKeesport. Some of them settled in the Pittsburgh area, McKeesport. My family happened to move to Lorain, Ohio, outside of Cleveland, and there was a U.S. Steel facility up there. And my great grandfather worked there. My grandfather worked there, and that's where I was born.
Okay.
Eventually moved to Mississippi. And in Mississippi, that's where some of our mutual friends that were in fantasy football leagues, shout out to the Mississippi Gulf Coast, Pascagoula, Mississippi. James Monty Wynn is the person that actually tagged us as the Croatian Mafia. My dad had bars and restaurants. Uh, we operated into the gambling world a little bit, and that we were affectionately known as the Croatian Mafia. So when I started my company, I wanted to be sure that I recognize some of our family heritage. On my mom's side, we're actually Hungarian too, so we got that going for us. And if any of you guys out there know what chicken paprikash is, that's one of my favorite dishes. I always ask my mom to make that for us when we
Chicken paprika.
it's chicken and dumplings with
Okay.
paprika and sour
Oh.
cream and a bra. Very well-known Hungarian dish. If
That
you know any
sounds delicious.
Hungarians, they all know what that is. So I named the company Croatian Mafia Cigars, and then I said, well, if I'm going to have the mafia term in it, let me go a little bit further with the Italian mafia, and I'll name each blend a different level of the mafia. So we have a consigliere, we have a capo, we have a boss, we have an underboss, and we have a soldier. And then so we have Croatian Mafia Cigars, the tagline. Every successful company from a marketing perspective needs to have a tagline. And the tagline is for the gangster in you. And my thought process there is we all have an inner gangster in us when we need to be and when we bring it out as appropriate. So there we go. Croatian Mafia Cigars for the gangster in you.
So you got your 5 blends. What's your favorite blend and how did you come up with the blend?
I get asked this all the time. And, a lot of new companies, for whatever reason, they develop one strong cigar, that they hang their hat on. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to make all my cigars good. I want somebody to buy a 5-pack sampler, which you can buy online at www.croatianmafia-cigars.com, and determine which cigar you like from there. And I want them to feel that every time that they smoke one of my cigars, that's their new favorite cigar. And
Guilty.
and that's the feedback that I get from shop owners, shop and lounge workers, customers. You today, when we were talking previously before we went live, what did you tell me?
I don't remember what my favorite cigar is because every time I smoke one of your cigars, I say, "Oh yeah, this was the one that I like the best," and then I'll smoke the next one. I say, "No wait, this was the best one," and it's just a constant cycle of, "No wait, this was the best one."
Mission accomplished. And I have a cigar for everybody. I have an Ecuadorian Connecticut, which is a mild cigar,
Mhm.
as you would expect. But even though it's a mild cigar, I'll put that up against any of the big cigars. And typically, an Ecuadorian Connecticut is, for lack of a better term, a very bland cigar, right? It's very
Yeah,
middle of the road,
yeah.
right? You don't get a lot of kick out of it, a lot of flavor. Well, that's not true with my cigar. When you put that in your mouth, I encourage everybody before they light it, just let it sit in your mouth for about 30 seconds and taste it. You'll taste syrupy, sweetness, maple, right? And to me, you know, that's what a cigar should be. It should be flavorful. It shouldn't be bland. It shouldn't
Mhm.
be run of the mill, right? So even though I have a entry level mild cigar, it's still very flavorful. And from there, I have a step up. I would think that the Soldier would be next in profile, a little bit stronger, very flavorful. It has a Habano Rosado wrapper and a Cameroon binder. And then from there, you can go to the Capo, which is the Habano Maduro with the Mexican San Andreas.
Yeah,
And then you go with the Underboss, which is another Habano with Nicaraguan fillers and binders. And then what I consider a medium, maybe borderline medium plus, would be the Consigliere with the
yeah,
Sumatra wrapper. And just one more note back to the name. I was on Boston Jimmy's podcast, and for the first, I don't know, 2 minutes of the podcast, he was doing his introduction. He goes, "You got the most interesting name. Why did you, are you affiliated with it?" And he goes, "Why would you name yourself Croatian Mafia Cigars?" And my simple answer to him on the podcast, which you can research, was, "Jimmy, you just answered your own question."
and I remember we had that conversation before we did our first episode together. You were telling me about that episode, and it's one of those names that it rings a bell. It's catchy, and it creates that intrigue into number one, your cigars and your brand and who you are as a person.
And I'll share another story with you. Uh, Shout out to Antonio at Downtown Cigars in Daphne, Alabama. Uh, I was actually calling on another shop in Fairhope, which is probably a stone's throw away, 5 miles from his shop. And the gentleman said, "Hey, I got a guy you should go see. Go see Antonio at Downtown Cigars." Fortunately enough, he picked up the phone and he called him and he said, "Hey, I got a guy here. You probably need to talk to him. He's with a cigar brand." He said, "Okay, tell him I'll be there at 7 o'clock."
Hmm.
So I went there at 6 o'clock, hung out in his shop. He showed up. I met him. We smoked cigars. I think he smoked one or two of my cigars, and he bought uh, three facings,
Yeah.
uh, three of each of my blends, 15 boxes on the spot. And I asked him, I said, "Antonio, what do you think of the name Croatian Mafia Cigars?" Because I'm always cognizant. I don't want to feel like it's too gimmicky, and
Yeah.
I'm always cognizant of what shop owners, lounges, and customers think. And he goes, when I first looked you up before you got here, I didn't really get it. He goes, but then I met you. He goes, I get it. I get it now.
Yep.
So I'm not portraying the brand as anything other than somebody that really is passionate about cigars, wants to share that passion with other cigar smokers, and I am the brand. What you see is actually who I am on a day-to-day basis.
That's something that you asked me just before when we were talking is based upon what you see online as opposed to in person. What do you think about me? I said, exactly as you see online. What you see is what you get.
That's it. I'm as transparent as I can be, in what makes business sense, and really that that's how I live my life.
So I have a question for you about your blends. Um, so you say you're about 2 years in. These are the same blends you've had throughout the 2 years. You've just changed the Vitolas.
Yeah, just on the soldier.
What has been, let's talk about feedback for a second. Have you had any negative feedback in a sense of not negative, but constructive criticism saying, well, if you were to do this or this or this, it might be a bit better. And if you did receive any of that, what did you do to take those steps to make the cigars better?
Yeah, so you're always getting feedback. Everybody's got an opinion,
Yeah.
right? And I value opinions, and especially from avid cigar smokers and shop owners and lounges. And I would say that 99% of anyone, maybe that's a little high, 95%, okay, 9 out of 10 people that smokes my cigars really like them, okay? And the next step is price point, cost to market, things of that nature, right? What does it cost to get your cigars into the United States? What does it cost to box them, ban them? What about operational costs, sales and marketing, distribution costs, all of those things? You know, to come up here, for example, we're talking probably $1,500 all
Yeah.
in,
Yeah.
right? I'm in shops and lounges. I'm hopefully will be in a couple shops and lounges in the Buffalo area soon. I'd like to give Nickel City Cigars out, which I visited yesterday and today, and we'll actually be driving back tonight for to see those guys. But to your point and the question that you asked, there's a lot of costs associated with all that, and there's feedback that's generated. Obviously, I've had feedback. Your cigars aren't strong enough, right?
Hmm.
Or a cigar shop might say, well, this price point doesn't doesn't fit us. And
Yeah.
and to my price point, my cigars are moderately priced. When you price out cigars, what's the cost of market to get your cigars to to the public, right? And to shops and lounges, right? And then what profit margin do you need to make, right? So I price them what I think is appropriately. And my underboss, the Habano, the smallest cigars, suggested retails in the 1350 range, right? My Capo, Consigliere, and Boss are competitively priced in the $14.50 range. And then my Boss, which is the highest rated, 95, thank you, Boston Jimmy, is $16 suggested
Okay.
price point. Now, to your Canadian friends, it's going to be a lot higher than that for obvious reasons. But
Yeah.
sometimes I'll get pushback in the cigar lounges where maybe their average price point is it's still in the $10 to $12 range, right? And if they don't see value in that cigar compared to what they currently have, then I might get some pushback. Well, that's probably not the right lounge for me.
Yeah,
You know, in some shops I'm in, they're 80% boutique. In
yeah,
some shops, they're 50% boutique cigars. And for those of you out there in the viewing audience that don't know, you know, there's a certain production level of cigars that put you in the boutique category that they can't be mass produced. And there's a lot of advantages for a shop owner and a lounge to deal with a boutique brand versus a big name brand. We're a lot easier to deal with, more innovative. And quite frankly, in my opinion, the boutique brands are driving that innovation. They're driving the different complexities that you can combine with a cigar.
yeah, yeah. No, that's true. Um, Essentially, it's knowing your market and what shop slash lounge is suitable for your cigar, as opposed to making your cigar suitable for every shop and lounge.
Yeah, and you know, no matter what business you're in, successful leaders learn to pivot,
Yep.
right? You know, everybody's got a plan till you get punched in the face, right? Mike
True.
Tyson,
Yep.
right? And to that point, I've actually launched a new line of flavored cigars. And if you would have talked to me a year ago, I would have told you in certain, no uncertain terms, the fuck off. I'm not carrying any flavored
Yep.
cigars, right? But I've changed my opinion on that because there's obviously a market for that.
Hmm.
And it's not just women, it's not just some ethnic background. There's a lot of people that like flavored cigars,
Yeah.
especially people that are just starting out. So I've come out with a flavored cigar, and I actually this lineup is going to be called the Valentina, and this is my chocolate flavored cigar, and I'm launching that actually this Thursday at a cut and light I'm doing at my home base lounge, which is a shout out to Viso Cigar Lounge in McKinney, Texas, and Austin and his family that run a top notch shop. And I'm doing a cut and light there on Thursday, and I'll be launching uh, the Valentina line. I have chocolate, I have strawberry, I have watermelon, and I
Oh,
have uh, uh, chocolate, watermelon, strawberry, and
vanilla. Yes.
vanilla. Yeah. So and you know, I got to tell you, I'm not a flavored cigar guy. I believe, you know, I like my steak and I don't put steak sauce on it,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
But these cigars for instead of I'm a big dessert guy. Even though I don't like stuff, you know, sauce on my steak, I like dessert. And in lieu of dessert, I would rather have one of those chocolate cigars because they're awesome.
Yeah. Flavored cigars, they I do like some, but I do think the general cigar smoker, they do enjoy a flavored cigar here and there. And I think it's a good, I hate to use this term, gateway into cigars for those that are looking to just get into it, where, you know, when I first smoked a cigar, I picked up this shitty Mexican cigar. I didn't like it. So I went to a cigar shop and I went with a strong Maduro and I got so sick from that cigar. And for somebody that's just getting into it, not knowing anything about it, a flavored cigar is definitely a good tool to have in your toolbox.
I'll share another story about the name. So I was approaching one uh, establishment, no name, and they love my cigars. And I'm not in there yet, but I'm soon to be. And one of the owners communicated to me that the other owner had an issue with my name. I said, "Well, what's the problem?" He goes, "Well, you got Mafia in your name." I said, "Well, what's the, you know, there's Bill's Mafia, there's other term. Mafia means an
Yep.
organization, you know, means an organized unit that's not always negative,
Yeah.
right?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Well, there was a restaurant down the street called the Poor Mexican. They went out of business." So I said, okay. So I sat in his lounge and for like 3 hours with all his a couple of his 6 or 7 of his regular customers. I handed out samples, and he goes, "Hey, how do y'all like these cigars?" We love them. They go, "What would you pay for them?" Yeah, $15, $16.
Yep.
I said, "Anybody got a problem with the name? Croatian Mafia? And they said, nope.
It's it's a name that sticks, and it's a name that you remember. You can't forget it.
Well, and I'll tell you this, we're all enthralled by the Italian Mafia,
Of
good
course.
or bad. You know,
Hmm.
Goodfellas, Godfather, Casino,
Hmm.
right? Scarface. 50 episodes with Tony Soprano smoking cigars. So
Yep.
cigars are associated with the mafia. They're also
Yep.
associated with success.
Yep.
But more than that, in real world and real life, when you go to a cigar shop or a lounge, you're taking an hour and a half, just like we are here today. We're
Yep.
taking an hour out of our day and you're smoking a cigar, right? Brothers of the Leaf, BOTL, right? That might sound corny, but there's meaning to that, right?
There is, yeah.
This is the great connector. It doesn't matter your socioeconomic status. It doesn't matter your religion. It doesn't matter your what political beliefs you have, what your station is in life. When you go to a lounge, you could be sitting across from a doctor, a lawyer, an attorney, a construction worker. We were in a lounge last night, Premier Cigars in Buffalo, New York, and there were retired colonels. There was people from all walks of life in there, and they're just there to do one thing: put their phones down, have some social interaction, and enjoy a good cigar.
And that's what society is missing a lot these days is put the phone down, have a conversation. You might learn something. You might find out that you have something in common with somebody that's on the complete opposite side of the spectrum of you.
And shout out to, all the veterans out there. The number two requested item overseas is cigars. And I'm an Army veteran. I was stationed in Germany from 1983 to 1985. I was a truck driver. I went to Fort Leonard Wood for basic training in AIT. My brother and I joined together, and that's really, when I started smoking cigars. So I have a respect level for everybody, but if you're a veteran,
Yeah.
I have another respect for you. And if you're even more respect, I should say, and if you're a cigar smoker, you're way up here. And if you're a cigar smoker and a veteran, you're way up here.
So going back to your days serving, were you in the army?
Yes, I was in the Army. I entered E nothing and got out in E4. The program they had when I went in was they matched you 2-to-1 for college money, and they had a 2-year active duty program and 4 years inactive. So I spent my whole tour of duty in Schweinfurt, West Germany, and this was pre-Berlin Wall coming down. We were 16, 30 clicks from the communist border. We'd go out to the field for 30 days at a time, and you never knew if it was real or not. And then about a week
Hmm.
later, they would say, "Okay, this is just an exercise." Fortunately for me, I was a truck driver. I uh, was in control of the fuel for the battalion, for the Abrams tanks, for the APC vehicles, for the Jeeps, and I drove a 5-ton truck that actually carried 1,200 gallons of diesel fuel in the
Yep.
bed of the truck, and then I pulled a trailer that contained 600 gallons of MoGas. So I would get to go on the base, and I would get to do certain things. They were stuck in the field, this whole 30 days, and that was actually my first sales job. I would go on the base and bring chocolate and Playboys and cigars back, and with a slight markup, I would
Yeah, yeah.
I would offer those up.
Um, so first of all, thank you for your service. Even though two different countries, I fully believe if we didn't,
And actually, we did exercises at a place called Grafenwehr for any veterans out there that served in Europe, specifically Germany. They would do exercises in Grafenwehr, and a lot of Canadians. We did a lot of joint exercises
yeah.
with Canadians.
And if we didn't have the United States right there, I fully believe we'd probably be taken over by China by now. So thank you for your service. Shout out to all the vets out there.
And look, my grandfather was in World War II. My other grandfather was in the military. My uncle was in the Navy. My brother and I joined the Army together. So I have a affinity for veterans, obviously.
So you were driving the fuel trucks. Did you ever have to go out into the combat fields to deliver fuel?
So fortunately, it was peacetime.
Okay.
I was in the Reagan years. Caspar Weinberger was the Secretary of Defense. So we didn't, I didn't know that going in, obviously, but fortunately for us, we didn't experience any conflicts at that time.
And you're saying essentially that was your first sales job that you would bring in the Playboys. So did you always have um a drive and passion for sales? Is that something that even in those army days, that's the vision you had
I
going
I had
forward?
a drive and passion for making money. So, and I was third in the birth order, and there's a good book, by the way, I'll plug, called The Birth Order Book. If you want to find out about yourself and other people and how your personalities are developed, it's called The Birth Order Book,
Okay.
and how your family dynamic is a direct contributor to your personality and where you are in life. So I was the baby. My brothers and I have an older brother and a middle brother, and we were all 2 years apart.
Yeah.
So this book actually confirms that if you're the baby of the family, you're always striving for attention. You get hand-me-downs, and by the time you come around, your parents will go, "Oh shit, what the fuck?"
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
they're less concerned about your well-being, so to speak. So you're kind of fending for yourself, always striving for attention. So according to the birth order book, and in my case specifically, the baby of the family is always striving for attention. They use comedy and laughter as a defense mechanism, and that's
I could see
true
that.
true in my instance.
I'm the baby in the family. I only got one sibling, an older sister, and I could relate to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So coming out of your service, what was your next step in life?
So my dad had a bar and restaurant,
Yeah.
and my brother and I lived at home, and my dad was very much an A-type personality, his way or the highway. So we actually joined the military to get out of the home. And I was just having this conversation with Mike earlier. When we joined the military, you could put in a request on where you wanted your permanent duty assignment to be. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be in the Army. I'm going to shave my head. I'm going to go through all this. The last place I want to be is in the United States. And plus, I wanted to see the world.
Yeah.
So we volunteered for Germany.
Okay.
The second most well, that wasn't even on the top list. Hawaii was the number one for obvious reasons, place people want to go. And then most people that join the military want to stay stateside for some unknown reason. So we got what we wished for, and we got to go to Germany, and we actually went there 2 weeks before Christmas. Spent Christmas with a German family. And I don't know if you know anything about the Germans, but they love to drink.
Mm-hmm.
They have pre-dinner drinks. They have desserts made out of alcohol, and then there's a post-dinner drink. And my 2 weeks, you know, before Christmas, we're there, and we're spending Christmas with a German family. And my brother's somewhat bigger than I am, and he had to carry me back to the post that night.
So moving on from there, like you say you started finding your passion in cigars. Back then, did you ever have a thought that you would own your own cigar company?
No, I don't.
Like how did that happen? How did it? I know you went as a consumer to Nicaragua, correct?
Correct.
But before that point, like how did you what made you say, you know what? Fuck it, I'm gonna pursue this.
Basically, how I've gotten into any business I've ever been involved with, and not all of them have obviously been successful. But I'm a calculated thinker. I'm a risk
Hmm.
taker, obviously. And once I tried these cigars, I said, "Fuck, maybe I got something here," And I'm not an epiphany type person.
Yeah.
I'm uh I'm a calculated, impulsive
Hmm.
type person, if that makes sense. And when I brought these cigars back, they were so good to me, personally, from a consumer perspective, that it was something that I was passionate about, that I thought I could make into a business and make money at and enjoy while I'm doing it. I was in the corporate world. I
Yeah.
was in IT telecom for 35 years. Very financially rewarding, but very stressful. Back to back to back conference calls, a lot of traveling, all about the bottom line and money. And I mean, how passionate can you be about voice over IP?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's great technology. And look, I have to believe in something that I'm selling and that I'm trying to get other people to buy and convince them of. And not that I wasn't passionate, during that time, but much more so passionate about cigars, and that's something I'm actually doing outside of my work environment on a
Yeah.
daily basis.
You essentially took something you were passionate about and turned it into a business.
Yes, and I did the same thing. I was passionate about cars. I started a car dealership. Uh, it's much easier and believable to sell something because most people can see through other people. And if you're not passionate about or don't believe in something that you're selling,
Hmm.
you're less likely to sell to that
Yep.
person. And selling's about trust, getting
Yep.
people to trust you and believe in you. And oh, by the way, and look, we're all selling something at some time. You know, you're convincing your wife of something every day, right?
You got to sell yourself in some way, shape, or form, whether it's in the house or outside in your 9 to 5 or your own business venture. And if it's something like, even like if I go back and say like I'm gonna recommend a cigar, there's not a lot of cigars I would recommend to people in terms of brands. Croatian Mafia cigar is the first one that comes to mind. There's a few others, but you want, like, for example, like when you got to believe in your product to sell it, and then when somebody buys it, yeah, he was right. This is good. It's the same thing when you're promoting and stuff like that. Like, if I'm gonna say you want to try this cigar, and then I feel the same way when somebody tries it, I'm like, okay, please tell me the review is going to be good. Because if not, no, it's, well, he's the one that recommended it to me.
So something I have benefited from in my corporate environment, being 35 years in the corporate world, is you have to take a lot of leadership training, servant leadership training. And the first thing that you learn is you have to be leader of self, and you come to understand what type of personality you have. And my personality is such that I have a moral obligation. If I say I'm going to do something, then I have to do it. If I say I'm going to help you move, by God, I'm going to help you move, whether I
Mm-hmm.
fucking like it or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can't morally sell something that I don't believe in.
Yeah. And that's a characteristic that not a lot of people possess these days. A lot of people will say this, this, and this, and then when the time comes, they're nowhere to be found.
Give you an example, text messaging. If somebody sends me a text message, I feel morally obligated to respond. I I don't like being ghosted, and I don't want to ghost anybody else.
Yeah.
Under certain circumstances, obviously you don't want to respond to everybody with the amount of spam we get via text message, but that's a big thing with me. If somebody is looking for something for me and I know them and they send me a text message, then by God, I'm gonna respond to
Yeah.
them.
Um, so in comparison, like if you were to compare your business endeavor with your brand, Croatian Mafia Cigars, and your sales and with cars, any other businesses you've been involved in, is there what is the one common characteristic between them all that would apply to each that would help you get a jump start into the cigar business?
So my personality is such that I have a general curiosity about where people come from, what they do, who they are. And, if I meet somebody on the street, that's what I'm going to find out from them, right?
Yeah,
And when you connect with people on that level, then if you have a good product and you're a good person, then it's an easy sale,
yeah.
right? And it's really connecting with people on a personal level,
Mm-hmm.
right? Commonality. We all have a lot more common with people than we have uncommon with them, right? And it's finding that commonality and learning
Yeah,
to talk about that, and that's how you connect with
yeah,
people.
that's
And it
very
doesn't
true.
matter doesn't if it's cigars, cars, electronics,
They're
whatever.
they're buying into you, not so much the product. The product is a reflection of yourself, and if you're a shitty person, you're gonna push a shitty product.
And there's a lot of shitty people out there. But I
There,
can tell you this, in the cigar industry, it's another big reason why I like this industry. 99% of the shop owners, the customers, they're all good fucking people. Last night we met so many good people at Premier in Buffalo, and a lot of veterans and just people just talking to them and what they like about the cigars, what they like about smoking cigars. What are they doing now? What did they retire from? What's
Yeah.
their sports
Yeah.
team,
Do you think, and this is one of the things I sit back and I think about a lot is like, you look at the modern day and time, and I look at it like we've really lost that human compassion in this world, that human nature, that human connection. Do you think the cigar world kind of
one
brings
thousand
that back?
1,000%. 1,000%. I mean, you know, the way I met you,
Mm-hmm.
shout out to Balance out of the Houston market, right? I met them at one of my shops, Prestigio. Shout out to Prestigio and just north of Houston. Those guys were talking. They have their own company. They're entrepreneurs. They're hustlers. They said, "Hey, you ought to follow Cigar Talk Toronto." So I started following you,
Mm-hmm.
and then that morphed into a deeper relationship,
Yeah,
right?
and I
And here
didn't
we
know that
are.
till you told me that earlier.
Yeah.
So huge shout out to Balance Cigars, Your Fertile Ground. Check them out on Instagram. Um, Essentially, I guess we have you to thank for this relationship here, and you're going to be seeing Croatian Mafia cigars a lot with Cigar Talk Toronto podcast.
And everywhere I go, I was in Burlington, Iowa, 2 weeks ago. I was at a place called Cedar and Vine.
mhm,
They just started carrying me, and I brought out an ambassador out of he lives in Plymouth, Illinois, and his name is Mike Lee. Shout out to you, Mike. He actually got me into a shop called Lux Stogie, veteran-owned place, and we did a cut and light there. And I did a podcast there, which will soon be released,
mhm.
which was pretty cool. I drove up from Dallas on a Thursday, went right to the shop, did a podcast, came back for a cut and light there on a Friday night, drove from there, and I don't. If your viewers aren't aware of the tri-state area, Southern Illinois, Northern Missouri, Southern Iowa, Burlington, Iowa is about an hour and a half from Quincy, Illinois, crossing the Mississippi River multiple times. Burlington, Iowa, Cedar and Vine. I'm there doing a cut and light on the Saturday after the Friday, another cut and light. And when I do cut and lights, I'm the king of swag, right? Custom humidors, hats, bourbon glasses, lighters,
That's right. Yeah.
cutters, visors, hoodies, right? There you go.
And I wear this on a
Right.
I wore this to my son's basketball today.
Awesome. So I was giving away a custom humidor. So for those of you who are not familiar with cut and lights, they bring vendors in, buy 4 cigars, you get one free. Buy 10 cigars, you get 3 free. Buy 20 cigars, you get 5 free. Every hour, you're doing a raffle for swag. If you buy 4 cigars, you get a cutter with that. You buy 10 cigars, you get a cutter and a lighter. You buy 20 cigars, you get all this other stuff. And you get thrown into, in my cut and lights, you get thrown into a raffle for a custom branded cigar humidor.
Oh,
The gentleman that won it uh, actually actually knows Colton and Michael, who owned the Ash and Barrel in Sherman, Texas.
okay.
They met him on a cruise. I'm selling my cigars in Ash and Barrel. This couple in Burlington, Iowa, met them on a cruise. They texted him, "Hey, do you know Croatian Mafia? Yeah, we carry his cigars, 1,000 miles away." Right?
Hmm.
I'm in the Red Phone booth in Dallas, Texas, a suburb colony. Red Phone booth is a speakeasy type environment. They have 5 locations, getting ready to open up their 6th location in Tampa, Florida, and they're opening up in Orlando and Raleigh, Durham. And Eric, who's the sommelier there, is a member of Viso. Shout out to Viso and McKinney again, Texas. I'm a member there. I'm probably their number 5 brand in that shop. He's also the sommelier in the Red Phone booth, gets me in there. I can't tell you how many people I've run into in that establishment that are members of other lounges. I was in there last Thursday night. I'm talking to people, and some guy comes up to me. He's got another guy on the phone that I met at Casa de Monte Cristo in Dallas, and he's Serbian, and he wanted to try my sticks. And the guys from Balance do a comedy night up there on
Yep,
Thursday.
yep.
They say, "Come here. This guy tried your sticks. He wants to meet you." He meets me. He takes me to the private club called the Ash. I'm in the red phone booth. Another guy comes up to me and says, "Hey, I'm on the phone with this guy that you met at Casa de Monte Cristo, and I saw your bag, Croatian Mafia cigars, and he's my friend, and I'm a member of the Ash." So it's all very cyclical. It's crazy the people that you meet in the industry that know other people that know other lounges, and that's how you do business.
You know what it is too is the cigar community, though small, it's very big at the same time. And I have noticed the cigar community is very supportive. And when they find a cigar that they really like, they will tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. And the best business is the business you don't have to advertise because the people just do it for you.
I'll give you another example. Red phone booth story. There's a gentleman there named Jared, and uh, he just started smoking my cigars a couple weeks ago. Loves them, and he just bought into another place called the Good Cigar, and I'm meeting with him next week, and they want to bring my cigars into that lounge. So the the main thing is that in this industry, you should be friendly with everybody.
Yeah,
Nobody's really a
yeah,
competitor. Nobody just goes to one shop all the time. Nobody just smokes one type of cigar.
exactly.
You have your cigar aficionados. Very rarely do they smoke the same. We don't eat the same meal every day. It's the same thing with cigars. What do you got new? What do you got new? And
Yep.
and to all the shop and potential shop owners and lounges out there, in my opinion, this business is a partnership. If you don't do well, I don't do well. So what I require and what I ask of any shop that I go into is, hey, look, I'm going to blast you on social media. Every time I restock, I'm going to blast you on social media. And when I come in, look, this isn't a one and done deal. This isn't a commodity.
Yeah.
This is a partnership. I want to ask you that within 60 to 90 days of bringing me in, we do an event. We do a cut and light, because those, especially a new brand that is, I'm not a $10 to $12 cigar. I'm not a $20 cigar
Hmm.
either, right? I'm appropriately priced, but those cigars, they don't magically disappear off the shelf. You have to get the lounge owners to buy in. You have to have good cigars. You have to have a good brand, but they got to buy into your brand and your cigars,
Yeah.
right? The personnel that work in those shops, they have to buy in, right? And then I have to do my part, right? To actively support them, right?
Yep.
So I ask every shop, I won't sell into a shop that won't bring me in for an event, right? So bring me in, get some brand recognition. Let me get in there 30, 60, 90 days, and then let me come in and help you promote my sticks, right? And
Essentially,
I can tell you, if you allow me to do that, I will be at the very least in your top 10 selling cigars. I'll give you an example. I won't name the shop, but I was in there 4 months. We did a cut and light.
mhm.
That shop did almost $4,000 of my cigars in that cut and light. Another shop, and hats off to this gentleman, right? He locked his humidor. He had that kind of relationship with his members and his customers, where he actually locked the humidor door, and everybody that came in, most of the people knew that there was an event there, but if they didn't know, they came in, they would try the knot. And he goes, "No, you got to come on." And he had boxes pre-sold, bundles pre-sold, and that's how you partner, and that's how you promote a brand.
So it's a mutual investment,
That's right.
right?
And look, it's a big deal for shop owners and loungers to make room in their humidor. A lot of these humidors, they're not gigantic,
Yep.
right? And a lot of these are small businesses and small shops, and they have small humidors. So it's a big deal for them to take a risk on an unknown brand, right?
Yep.
Whether your cigars are good or not, right? There's been a lot of successful companies that had a good product that failed
Yep.
for
Yep.
various
Yep.
reasons, right? So they have to buy in, and it's a big step for a shop and a lounge to bring you in. And I appreciate that, right? And I don't want to let them down, right? So that's the kind of support that Croatian Mafia Cigars brings to shops and lounges.
Does it yeah, I got a couple things I'm curious about. I always see you traveling back and
Time
forth.
out for that, that burn. Hats
Yeah,
off to Tabacalera Pichardo.
and to be honest, we're sitting in here and there's a lot of air movement because of, the heat blowing.
And these have traveled all the way from Dallas,
Yeah,
Texas, on an
they
airplane, in
burn
my
very
hotel
even.
room, in the frozen tundra.
Yep, they burn even. It's a clean burn.
Let me tell you something about tobacco lab chart. So for those of you who don't know it, they have in the industry, we use a draw tester at the factory.
Hmm.
And I don't know about other shops, but we use the draw tester on every cigar.
Okay.
Some factories, every fifth cigar, every 10th cigar. If it doesn't meet the draw test, it's a
Yep.
machine, you put it on, it pokes a hole, checks the air pressure, whatever. They throw it back. They throw it out, right? So you should never have a draw problem. And look, I just poke a hole with a corkscrew in the bottom. You should never have a draw problem with any of my cigars. There was a slight draw problem with the Salaman and the Soldier in its first iteration, and that's one of the reasons that I moved. And that was just based on the size of the Vitola. Has a nipple on the end and the way it's shaped.
Yeah, the Solomon, how difficult is it to roll that? Because your cigars are hand rolled.
That's correct.
So how difficult of a cigar is that to roll?
I don't know on the difficulty scale,
Yeah.
but I would assume it's a lot more challenging, and there's a couple more steps involved than a regular cigar roll.
Um, Again, you going back to like, I always see you're traveling back and forth to Nicaragua, you're going to this event and that event. Being in the cigar industry, is it one of those things you really have to live it, breathe it, and enjoy it? Because all that traveling can be taxing on the mental, on the body. So how do you keep yourself motivated and healthy and able to travel on a constant basis?
So I'm an interesting character. I like routine, but I like change also.
Yeah.
I also like to be walk in a room and not know anybody, and I like to walk in a room and know everybody. So I'm a kind of a contradiction in
Hmm.
terms. As far as the travel aspect, traveling expands your horizons. It grows you as a person. It makes you realize, and majority of the people in the United States live and die 30 miles from their home, right?
Yeah.
I'm not one of those people. I've lived in 2 countries, 9 states, and 18 cities, and I'm in Dallas for 19 years now. But I take away little pieces of culture. I take a little pieces of the people, the food, and it just makes you feel alive when you travel, in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
So, whether it's driving from Dallas to Burlington, Iowa, or flying on a plane to Buffalo and driving 3 hours north through the frozen tundra, I mean, it's all positive in my experience. And look, I've been to Colombia 3 times by myself, Bogota, Cali, Cartagena. I've been to Thailand 3 times by myself. I've been to Nicaragua. Most of the places I've traveled have been by myself. And I've only had maybe one bad experience, and I'll share this with you. It can be amusing, but to most people, it'd probably be scary. I actually went to Cartagena, and first night in country, I rented an Airbnb, and I wasn't happy with it. They were smoking outside, and it was coming in the room, and there was a leak in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And I told them, I said, "Hey, man, we're communicating on WhatsApp." I said, "Look, I'm gonna pay for the night I stayed, but I don't want to spend the next 6 days here." And they said, "Well, we're not going to refund you." So I blocked them on WhatsApp, and I started dealing with Airbnb directly. And I got another place, and next thing you know, I get this anonymous text on WhatsApp saying, "Hey, this this isn't the United States. We have your passport information. You could disappear." And I'm going, "Oh, whoa." My first night in country, right? And then they backed that up with a video, and I showed it to Mike last night, and I still have it. And it was a guy getting dismembered while he was alive on the beach, and they beat him with his own limbs. And first night in country, I'm going, let me think about this. So you know what I did?
What did you
Absolutely nothing. I sent the video and the text to my nephew. Shout out to Ricky. And I let him know. I said, "Hey, look, if anything happens, this is what's going on." And I talked to some people down there. They said, yeah, the cartel owns a lot of property here. They're
Yeah.
probably not going to do anything. They probably just wanted to scare you to give them a good review or whatever. And if they would have done something, they were going to do something, they probably would have already done it. So I went about my business, had a great time.
And,
That's been my most harrowing experience overseas by
and it just
myself.
had to be in Colombia. Shout out to Colombia. Colombia's a beautiful country. Doesn't surprise me though.
Yeah.
They definitely operate.
But look, the whatever happened down there, what is it, Pablo Escobar, that people don't realize that was 30, 40 years ago,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
they've come a long way, but this cartel still does exist.
It still does exist, not to the level of, the late 80s, early
Yeah.
90s.
And that was before I was in the Croatian Mafia, so I could have thrown that at them, say, hey, I'm part of the Croatian Mafia, leave me
Yeah.
alone.
It's hey, you know what? Every situation you live through is another great story to tell. Um, so let's just say you're sitting back in Texas, and I got to give you props because from the time we started talking with each other, from the first time you were on the podcast, I want to say your business has almost doubled in terms of the amount of shops and lounges that you're in.
And yes,
So you're sitting back in Texas, right? And you're sitting there, you're thinking, you're planning. How do you pick? And without saying too much, because everyone's got their connections and hookups, but how do you decide which direction in terms of cities and states to now pursue?
yeah, and it's kind of a combination of the shotgun approach versus the bullseye approach. Shotgun is you spray everybody, right?
Yeah,
Bullseye approach is you circle, make a larger circle where you're based out of, and economically, geographically, you target those areas. In the state of Texas, well, I'll give you an example. In Dallas, there's probably 85 to 100 shops and lounges, right?
yeah,
And believe it or not, the state of Texas, even though I'm based out of there in Plano, Texas, my warehouse is in Plano, my office is in Plano, I live in Allen, all suburbs of Dallas, is the toughest by far to penetrate.
yeah,
I mean, I have one shop closings in all other states, right? In Texas, for whatever reason, it's a process, and even if they like your cigars and even if they like you, there might be other ancillary reasons why they don't bring you in or it doesn't move forward that they most likely don't even share with you, right?
yeah.
Because when somebody doesn't like my cigars, I ask them, why don't you like them? Or why? And if they can't tell you, well, they don't know cigars.
Hmm.
And the problem with a lot of places is, some food and beverage places that have a humidor and sell cigars, or some places that are bars and lounges, they don't know cigars. And in most cases, if you don't know cigars, then that's the reason you don't like my cigars.
Yeah.
The other reason is you think you know too much about cigars. You have some cigar snobs, for lack of a better term. Uh, you know, it's either they might have an issue with the pricing, or they might really look at your cigar and say some things based on their opinion that aren't really true about your cigars. But for the most part, everybody loves my cigars.
It's funny when you talk about price point. That's a good cigar. When you talk about price point, if that was me, I would have dropped it already. Somehow, some way, I would have found a way to drop it on myself. Just like when we were smoking the Cubans earlier, I got about maybe a quarter inch of ash and it dropped on me.
And by the way, let's talk about that.
Let's talk about the Cubans.
Yeah, so I don't know, 50 or 60% of the West Premium cigars come from Nicaragua. The majority of the rest come from Dominican Republic. And oh, by the way, there's Cuba, right?
Yeah.
So I stopped on the way up here and I paid an astronomical price for some Cuban cigars. And we smoked one. I won't say the name. I almost said it. I'm not going to say the name. And I paid, I don't know, $43 for that cigar. And I even got the 30% discount because I paid for
Regular price was $70.
yeah, yeah. So, man, I wasn't impressed. And I haven't smoked a lot of Cuban cigars,
Mhm.
but I smoked that and it was it was a mild cigar, and I would equate that. I wouldn't even equate that, but if you're going to compare it, I would compare it to my Boss Ecuadorian Connecticut maple syrup,
Yeah.
sweet taste for a Connecticut cigar, very flavorful, right? And I wouldn't even compare that to mine. I didn't even want to finish smoking it. I'm not
You
bad
didn't,
mouthing.
it's sitting
I'm just
right
telling
there. You
you,
didn't finish
I didn't
smoking.
finish it. I mean, so, on the open market, I'm on all these groups and people, hey, is this fake? Is this real for a Cuban cigar? And 99% of them are fake, for one. The
Yeah,
consistency isn't there. Now, the guy in the shop told me here in Canada, they're not going to be able to get Cuban cigars anymore because of the Argentina or Venezuela situation.
yep.
And all of the cigars are earmarked for Hong Kong and China. So they're going to have to go to Nicaraguan or Dominican cigars very shortly.
But to be honest, in the American market, you already don't really have Cubans anyways.
Right.
Um, Cuban cigars in Canada are on the unaffordable range. Listen, most people are not going to go and spend 70 to,
Look, in the 60s, 70s, maybe even the 80s, Cuban cigars were the shit,
yeah,
right? But man, I don't. They just don't live up to the hype in my
no.
opinion
There's
anymore.
a lot of reasons for it, but also at the same time, it's one of those things that, again, it's price point. In Canada, to go and spend on the average decent cigar, 20 to $35.
Right.
You might stretch it to $40. When you start getting into Cubans and you're spending, 70 to fuck, some of them are like $5,000.
Well, he showed me 15 cigars, limited edition. I forget the name brand. 15 cigars,
Hmm.
$5,000. What the fuck?
Hmm.
I said, what is it? Is there 30 cigars in here? 60? No, it was 15 fucking cigars
Yep.
for $5,000. That's where they're at. But anyways, I wouldn't recommend Cuban cigars to anybody if you're looking for value. And look, the humidity, the volcanic ash, look, everybody knows that has a decent knowledge of cigars, knows that the best cigars are coming from Nicaragua.
It seems like it these days, yeah, Nicaragua and then Dominican. How did you establish when you started with your cigar venture? What made you decide to go to Nicaragua?
It was happenstance. I mean, look, I didn't do any pre-research or I mean, I did when I was starting my business, but I didn't have the knowledge at that time to say, hey, Nicaraguan versus Dominican versus Cuban. But after I was started delving into it and doing some research, I realized that, Nicaragua was the place to get my tobacco. And look, it's grown in Nicaragua, but you have Ecuadorian Connecticut,
Yeah.
you have Carrillo and Corojo and Peruvian 99 and 96, you know, that goes into these cigars, but it's still grown for the most part in Nicaragua. And to me, after assessing the environment and doing some research, I determined that Nicaragua was the best country to partner with from a cigar perspective.
So if you were to explain, and I'm curious about this myself because I've only been smoking cigars for just over a year. When it comes to the flavors in the cigar, how do you get those flavors in the cigar? Like,
So I rely on Aradio Pichardo Perez. I rely on Aradio a lot. And, I'll give you an example. I'm working with some shops on some custom white label blends. And shout out to Antonio at Downtown Cigars in Daphne, Alabama. Uh, we talked about a custom blend, and he told me what he was looking for. Tepe, Carrillo, Corojo, Peruvian 96, 99. And I was going to Nicaragua as I always do when I have a big order coming. I'll go down there and oversee the production and make sure everything's copacetic. And he gave me his blends on what he wanted. And my next trip to Esteli, to Tabacalera Pichardo, I brought it to Radio and I said, Radio, I have looking at making a custom blend for this gentleman. He goes, okay, come back tomorrow and we'll have your samples ready for you. So he had my samples ready. I flew back. I drive from Texas to Daphne, Alabama. I give him 20 samples. He hands them out to his customers. Feedback is, oh man, we love them. They're great. Good. Let's move forward. He wires me the money. Within 45 days, I had him his cigars custom band, custom box, white labeled for him based on what his customers liked, what the blend he was looking for, and named after his mother, who's Adele. You know how Italians are about their mothers.
Yep.
The box had the boot, Italian boot with his mother's name on it, her birthday. We launched him January 24th. He had them pre-sold, 10 cigars to a box. He committed to 2,000 boxes, or excuse me, 200 boxes, 2,000 cigars. And on January 24th, his mother was up there, 80 something years old, signing the boxes. And he had a good majority of them pre-sold, and everybody's happy.
So just to be clear, when another aspect of Croatian Mafia cigars is your custom blends, and your custom blends are not just rebranded cigars. They are,
Yeah. So what you're talking about is a house blend. So
Yeah.
a house blend is a manufacturer that goes into a shop. They don't band them, they don't box them, and they let that shop call it their house blend.
Yeah.
But they're selling that to every other shop. This is a custom blend that I told him
yeah,
I will not sell to anybody else. That you can only get from him. That he told me the blends that he wanted, and once he committed to that, I had his cigars hand delivered in a custom branded, banded box, especially for him that you can't get anywhere else.
So to
In
all the
45 days.
lounges, all the shops, if you want a custom blend,
Hit me up. I got something for you. And
there
if
you
you don't
go.
like the blend, we'll start from scratch and you can start another one. Now, I'm not going to go 2 years down the road with that. You got to decide on something, but hit up Croatian Mafia Cigars and I will give you something that you'll be very happy with that is custom for you.
And that's something that is,
It's unheard of in the industry, especially within 45 days.
yeah. And especially
Look,
to,
blenders won't even talk to you unless you commit to 10,000 cigars,
Yeah.
right? The minimum order's 2,000. Okay, and I'm going to help you sell those cigars.
Because I think a lot of the misconception too is, like, for example, with that aspect is, oh, it's just a Mafia cigar, just rebanded to whatever this band is now.
Correct. That's not the case.
That is not the case.
Yeah.
You are getting a complete tailor-made custom cigar for your shop that you're not going to get anywhere else. And that's the way to do it. But even still, that aspect there's got to be, that's a lot of work. And what I'm getting from this is you're a fucking workhorse.
I have a drive that's probably second to none.
Yeah.
And that comes from being passionate about cigars and the type of personality that I have. Look, I can be in Burlington, Iowa. I can be in Toronto, Canada. I can be in Buffalo, New York. I can be in Nicaragua. Look, I'm working on distribution in Croatia. The Croatians is a country of 4 to 6 million people, right? Very proud. They see something with their name on it. That gives you an in, but then they determine that you have a good product and you're good to go. So I'm currently working with the largest importer in Croatia to get my cigars distribution in both Croatia, Sweden, and Slovenia.
So
Got-
you international, you're going
Yeah.
international.
Yeah, and then I'm as you know, I'm working with a rapper. We won't say his name right now on a custom blend as well. It's been on your podcast, but we'll see about moving that forward. I'm working on some limited editions for the World Cup.
Oh, okay.
Croatia plays England first round in June of next year. So we're going to get an influx of a lot of Croatians in Dallas. So I'm working on a limited edition there. I'm also working on another blend that I will probably be rolling out next year as well. that it is already a well-known blend that's been successful that I'm taking over. So I got a lot of things in the
I'm
works.
curious to know about that one. What keeps you motivated?
I have certain colloquialisms that I use in my life. One of them being, it's never as good as or bad as it seems. So whatever's going on in your life, you have to keep it here instead of up here and up here, and
Mhm.
remind yourself
Yeah.
that it's never as good as or bad as it seems.
Mhm.
So that keeps me motivated. But I have I'm 64. So I've seen a lot in life,
Yeah.
and I have two kids. I have a 8-year-old and a 12-year-old. They keep me motivated, but I try to be a good person. Try to be as honest and as transparent as you can. Try to help people. Try to be successful, and try to be a positive influence. And don't be an asshole. That's the main
That
thing.
seems like the key to life is, it doesn't matter who's who, just don't be a fucking dick about
Don't
it,
be a fucking
you know?
asshole. And look, you can lead your life. It doesn't matter what your political beliefs are.
No.
Don't do anything to intentionally hurt somebody else. You make mistakes, you own up to it, right? But be a fucking good person. Don't be a fucking
And
asshole.
it's like I always say, at the end of the day, none of us make it out of here alive.
That's right.
Our end
That's right.
story is all the same.
And when you don't make it out of here alive, you can't take it with you.
E-
Somebody's going to be living in your fucking house 20 years from now, whether you like it or not. Somebody's going to be driving
Exactly.
your fucking car, whether you like it or not.
It's like, you're either going to be cremated or you're going to be buried in the ground.
Yeah. So,
Or in some cases, you're in a river somewhere that you
so
never found. Who knows, right?
relationships are very important.
Yes.
Business and personal. And there's not much difference if you're a good person.
Yep.
Your business relationship should be very similar to your personal relationship. And look, I'm a big I have two dogs and one cat. I'm a big pet person. I'm a big people person. Very important.
So what are some of the challenges? Like you have your kids, you have your animals, and you can tell a lot about a person too by how they treat animals and stuff like that. What are some of the challenges in terms of always being away from home, traveling away from your kids, away from your animals?
Yeah, so it goes back to I like change, but I like routine. So I always love getting back home, sleeping in my own bed,
Yeah.
obviously. But my two dogs and my cat, they sleep with me. Uh, the challenges are being, uh, a lot of times you're by yourself. But I think that's healthy in a certain way.
Yeah.
When you travel by yourself, and when you're by yourself and you're not in a relationship. I was married for 6 years. I've been divorced for 7, so I tried that route. And interesting enough, I didn't get married till I was 51. First child at 52, second child at 56. So I'm always the oldest guy on the soccer field. And I always get, hey, you here watching your grandkids? No, they're my kids. My wife was 27 years younger for me. She was Russian too. So
Okay.
she was female, Russian, and 27 years younger. I had 3 strikes going against me there. But I'm sorry, what was the original question?
Just for example, like, you're traveling, you're always away from your kids.
Yeah.
What keeps your head above water? Because you're a passionate person. So I would assume you're passionate about your kids.
I'm passionate about everything. I'm
And
passionate about sports. I was born in Ohio, moved to Mississippi when I was 7 on my 7th birthday with my family.
okay.
So I grew up in Mississippi. So I look at myself as a Southerner with a Yankee mentality and a
Mhm.
Yankee work ethic. Not that Southerners are lazy, but and what has helped develop me as a person is all the traveling that I've done, right?
Yeah.
It makes you appreciate where you come from. The military made me appreciate that I was not in the military at one point, right?
Yeah.
So I always draw on my past experiences. And if there's a difficult time in my life, I remember a more difficult time in my life and
Yeah.
say, hey, I got through that, whether it was financial, emotional, physical,
Yep.
whatever. But, 3 years ago, I was 245 pounds,
Oh, wow.
and now I'm 179.
And what's your height? You're
Now
around,
5'11".
you're
I'm
5'11"?
5'11", yeah.
Okay.
And I can still wear my army jacket from 1983. All right. And so I've been to I go to the gym. I use modern science, Manjuro, right? Uh, you know, that's another thing, everything we eat today is you're probably better off not eating at all based on what's in your food today. So,
Speaking of Ohio, actually, we were talking earlier, and you're like, have you ever actually been to the States? Not Buffalo, but the States. I did actually go to Ohio. The day I got married, I left half an hour after for a road rally, and it started in Dayton, Ohio.
what's a road rowdy?
So it's essentially
Road rally?
a road rally,
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
So a bunch of guys
Yep.
get together with their
Yep.
cars,
Yep.
and
Yep. Yep.
you got to make point A to point B the quickest time without speeding.
Pub crawl with cars.
Yep. And that was my
So
experience in
yeah,
Ohio.
so I was born in Elyria, about 30 miles east of Cleveland, and moved to Mississippi with my family when I was 7. We got there right before Hurricane Camille, which is one of the uh, most well-known natural disasters in the United States. So I grew up on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and then eventually from there I went to New Orleans. From New Orleans, I went to New Mexico. From New Mexico, I went to New York. From New York, I went to Maine. From Maine, I went to New Hampshire, and then I relocated to Texas, all due to my career in telecom. And I've been in Texas for 19 years now.
What kept you in Texas?
Oh man, it's the best place I ever lived. Out of 2 countries, 9 states, and 18 cities. The business environment, the political environment, highway infrastructure, 2 major airports, the
Yeah,
sports teams, the ethnic diversity, the weather, central time zone. I could go on and on
yeah,
about why it's the best place to live. And I don't plan on ever leaving Texas. And there are only a few states I would live in for various reasons: Arizona, Mississippi, Alabama, Texas, obviously, Florida. I don't know if after that if I'd live anywhere else in the United
so would you
States.
say more of the southern states are kind of the best potential for,
Cost of living,
yeah,
yeah, I mean,
human growth?
yeah, in Mississippi, yeah, overall quality of life in Mississippi and the Mississippi Gulf Coast, Biloxi, Gulfport, Pascagoula, that area. I mean, you can make 60, $70,000 a year, and you can live like a king. And you got the Gulf Coast and
Yeah,
seafood, and you're between New Orleans and you're between Panama City, and it's awesome. I mean, let me tell you something about Panama City. I take my kids there twice a year, and cigars play a big part in that. I'll sit on the balcony and watch the sun come up, the sun set, and it's beautiful, man. I've been all over the world, Thailand, the Caribbean, Mexico, and the beaches from Panama City to Gulf Shores are just fucking awesome
yeah,
and affordable.
yeah. That's one thing that I've noticed too with the States is if you can have a decent to mid-level income, your life is going to be so much better. I'm going to ask you this. So, what would $1 million in terms of house-wise buy you in Texas?
Uh, Home values are pretty affordable there, comparatively speaking. You know, the housing market is down right now, but shit, you could get a nice, I would say 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 square foot home. It's still in Texas
So
for $1 million.
In Canada right now, you're sitting in $1 million house.
Oh, no shit. Holy fuck, it's nothing against your house, but goddamn, man.
Isn't it? Mike's over here
That's
shaking his
crazy.
head. You're sitting in $1 million house.
That's comparable with California.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's crazy.
it's
Yeah.
it's retarded,
Yeah.
and I'm outside the city.
Yeah, I know. When I would come, I go, God damn, he lives in the fucking country, man.
Yep.
Fucking-
Behind me is farm fields,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I know. I drove through it.
and there's a reason that we moved out here was number one, what is affordable these days in Canada?
Yeah.
Not much, but it's the peace, the quiet. You come home and you know that no one's going to bother you. They still live. It's outside of the city so far without being in the country, but you're still in the country. You know, there are people driving their snowmobiles down the roads and dirt bikes and ATVs. The
Yeah, that's
police
cool.
don't bother
Yeah.
you.
My brother lives in a very peaceful area, Lucedale, Mississippi, and he's got a nice spread looking over the water and outside patio area. And I have a patio area at my home too. That's where I smoke most of my cigars. I have a pool and outdoor TV, but There's something to be said about that type of environment. You talk about passion and some other things that motivate me. I'm a big music guy.
Yeah.
My first concert in 1976 was Peter Frampton. One of the best live albums ever. Peter Frampton Comes Alive. We saw him at Nashville Speedway in Nashville, Tennessee on the 4th of July. But I've seen everybody from the Eagles to Prince to Sade to MC Hammer
Oh shit, going back to the
to the
Hammer
Gap
days.
Band to the Isley Brothers to Fleetwood Mac to Styx. And I was talking to Mike earlier in Germany. We saw AC/DC and Foreigner and Huey Lewis and the News at the Monsters of Rock in Nuremberg with 80,000 people. And I like the gamut, man. And some of the music you're going to play on this podcast that I sent you, everything from Jay-Z to you name it. I'm a big electronic EDM
I got a
guy.
thing with Jay-Z.
Yeah, you do?
You're not gonna hear Jay-Z.
No, you're not
You'll hear the other ones. You ain't
You
gonna
don't like
hear
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z.
By the way, he came up with an unsuccessful cigar line, and the reason most celebrity cigar brands fail is because they don't get behind their
Yep.
cigar,
Yep. Yep.
and the other reason is because they have shitty cigars.
And that was Cohiba, I believe, correct?
What's that?
It was Cohiba that he tried to get a luxury.
I don't know who. I can't
I
remember who
believe it was
was.
Cohiba, and I'm just gonna explain why you're not gonna hear Jay-Z.
Yeah,
I'm a loyal person,
yeah.
so I'm sure you've gathered
So
based
you're not going to
upon.
play Big Pimpin'?
I'm sure you've gathered based upon, our interactions and what you've seen. I'm a Mobb Deep, Nas, loyal
Yes.
person. The second Jay-Z went at Mobb Deep and Nas, that was it. I chose my side. I'm done. That's just the way it is.
Look at that. That's still good.
It's still going. And I've said it a few times on a few episodes, one with Big Twins, one with Guns and Butters. Nas still keeps ethering Jay-Z outside of hip hop. The casino, Nas's casino, he got his casino, Jay-Z's bid failed. The cigars, Nas is a co-owner of Escobar. It's successful. Jay-Z's cigars failed, among other
It was
things.
priced wrong to begin with. I don't know the quality. I haven't tried it, but
But that's because like celebrity cigars, for example, like you said, number one, they don't get behind it. And even about like, for example, the Tyson Gurkha, you're just putting your name on another cigar's brand. You're not invested in the company. So you're relying on the name recognition to push the cigar.
right.
And it doesn't work. A lot from what I've gathered, a lot of cigar smokers, they don't like celebrity cigars. They don't. They just steer clear of them and they want nothing to do with them.
So I saw Prince on his 1999 tour in Mobile, Alabama in I want to say 83.
Hmm.
A bunch of us. So we lived in Pascagoula, Mississippi. It was 30 miles from Mobile. Mobile was a big concert venue stop. And I had a station wagon, and it was rusting out, and the exhaust was hanging out, and the fumes would come in through the back, and it had the wood paneling on the side, and they called it my friends affectionately called it the rust bucket, and we piled up like I don't know 8 or 10 of us, and one of the guys that went with us had some test tubes full of weed, and we smoked that on the way over, and uh, people told me later that they saw our car and it was surrounded by beer cans. But I'll never forget that was Prince in his 1999 tour,
Mhm.
and the Time opened up for him in Vanity Six, and that was a memorable concert. I saw Marvin Gaye before he died
Okay.
in concert. Uh, I saw Fleetwood Mac and the Eagles 30 years after I originally saw them. And I'll never forget this. It was Fleetwood Mac, I think, or maybe the Eagles. And my wife at the time, we went to the concert and we're watching them. And she goes, "Are you crying?" And I said, "No, I'm not crying." And I was fucking crying because it brought back so many emotions
Yeah.
and so many memories. And I saw them 30 years later and they had the exact same fucking sound. And that's the power of music in my opinion. Everybody associates a period in their life with music,
Mm.
and cigars can be the same way.
Music is a time machine.
Yeah.
There's certain songs that you will listen to and it brings you back so vividly to a certain time in your life.
Do you know there's a contest that happens yearly, and they have regionals in the United States, and it's who can smoke the cigar the longest. And I would say on average my cigars are an hour, hour and a half.
Yeah.
And you can look at my reviews online. Boston Jimmy says, he smoked the Gordo Habana, which is a, I don't know, 6 by 48,
Yeah.
hour and a half. I go, how the fuck do you smoke that an hour and a half? You're supposed to wait 30 seconds. So they have this contest and they have regionals, and the championship is, oddly enough, on a yacht in Croatia. Who can smoke the cigar the longest?
I gotta say, because you typically say you power through cigars.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting at you and I'm watching you smoke your cigar and I'm almost done
Because
mine.
I'm talking a lot. That's
Yeah.
why.
And this might be the slowest time period you've ever taken to smoke a cigar.
I would say so. Six
So
by 60 Gordo.
great cigars.
Yeah.
Honestly, so I can't give reviews in terms of transitions and all that shit. I'm not a reviewer. I
And
just I just like cigars.
and I'm not as well. I don't have that sophisticated palate. I can't
Yeah.
earthy, leathery, chocolatey, maybe chocolate, but some of those other undertones and flavors, I'm just not that guy. And when people ask me, well, what do you recommend? What do you recommend? This is the first thing I ask. Are you a mild, medium, or full
Mhm.
body guy? Okay, I got something for you. Right now, I can tell you that my Soldier, which has uh, a Habano Rosado wrapper and a Cameroon binder, if you like the Arturo Fuente Don Carlos,
Mhm.
that's a great cigar. More value, mine is less expensive, and I'm gonna tell you, it's more flavorful, right? For a lot less money,
Yeah.
right? And I'd be a fool to say that my cigars are the best out there. There's so many great cigars, especially in
Yeah.
the boutique category,
Yeah.
right? And I don't like to compare my cigars to other manufacturers. I can't determine what your palate, what you had to drink before you tasted my cigar, right? So I don't like to compare, but I'll tell you, if you like a mild, medium, or full bodied, I have a cigar for you. And I guarantee you that it's probably more flavorful than what you currently like.
Yeah. I'm sitting.
I mean, my God. And look, this wasn't a staged cigar. This is what I picked up out of my bag right here.
No, I can tell you
Decided to
so one thing that I have
smoke.
learned is tobacco doesn't travel well. You're supposed to let it rest after it travels. You took that out of your bag. You've gone from Texas to Buffalo to Toronto to, I'm
And
not going to say where I
and
live.
look, this came from Nicaragua. And that's another thing about boutique brands that don't mass produce, right? I go through my inventory quickly. So it's very rarely that you'll have a cigar that's 3 months from the factory, right? And and Pichardo won't. I remember distinctively when I went down there the first time, he almost refused to sell me 300 cigars because they hadn't rested enough. He wanted me to guarantee him that I would sit them in my humidor for at least 3 weeks before I smoked them or sold them to anybody.
There's some guys out there, they're like, oh, I pick up cigars. I like to let them rest for 6 months to a year. I'm just like, fuck, how do you do that?
Yeah.
I buy my cigars. I like to smoke
And
them.
there's, conflictual uh, points about letting cigars rest and how long let them rest. But the nice thing about cigars is if they're in the right temperature and the right humidity, I'm not going to say they're going to be good for 100 years, but there's a good probability 3 to 5 years down the road, they'll still be good.
So what would you say that, I assume you have a humidor at home.
I have a rotching 6 foot humidor in my house that holds 1,500 cigars. I have a rotching 6 foot humidor that extracts ammonia. I don't know, people might not be aware, but cigars put off a certain amount of ammonia. It extracts ammonia,
Yeah.
and I keep 3,000 cigars in that.
So it extracts the ammonia?
Yes.
Okay. That's one thing that I did. So we did a podcast with Henry Cortez a couple episodes ago. That's one thing that I did learn about the ammonia and how to identify the flavor of the ammonia when it's kicking in. And I didn't know that there's humidors out there that extract it.
Yeah, these are made in China. I bought one off the floor in PCA and I bought the other one directly from them. But then, one was like, if you price them on Amazon, they're $3,000 or $4,000.
Yeah. Yep. What do you keep your humidity and your temperature at in your humidors?
69 and 70 or 70 and 70, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a good balance,
Yeah.
you would say?
Yep. Easy to remember.
Would you say that, so I've done some videos, the digging in the crates, and sometimes my humidor will jump to like 75 and then you open the door and it just
Yeah,
drops quick, right?
immediately. Yep.
What would you say would be the maximum humidity you can go to with it without it being too much?
72, 73.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't do that. I mean, I recommend 69, 70.
So in my case, 76 is way too much.
Yeah, that's way too much. Yeah. Way too much.
And it's like one of the things that, me personally, I look for in a cigar is
Do you look for this?
I don't, but that's impressive.
And the longer you leave the ash, the more flavorful the cigar is.
I didn't know that, but that's impressive. But one of the things that I look for is the smoke content and the draw. You don't want to be like, when you get that milkshake and you're like sucking on that straw and it's just not coming through. I don't like to have that with my cigars, and I like a good smoke content. And these cigars are a good draw, lots of smoke, and you don't get tired of it halfway through. The flavors are good. They stay consistent. The transitions are really good because I haven't noticed a big transition of flavors. Now, I couldn't tell you the flavors of the cigar. I could just tell you this is a damn good cigar. But that's what I think a lot of the average smokers look for is just a good, consistent cigar. And I think you've nailed that.
Yeah, and consistent meaning when they like it at first, they want to taste that same
Hmm.
consistency 6 months from now. And
Yep.
that's what my cigars do, and that's what Pichardo is known for.
Like you've already reached past the point that you put that Cuban out.
Yeah.
And that Cuban brand you smoked
Yeah.
is actually a pretty good, reputable brand.
Yeah.
And you didn't finish. You can do it.
Their time is past.
I think so.
Yeah.
What do you say to the people out there? And this is just your thought process. There are some people out there that say, "Oh, if it's not Cubans, it's not a real cigar."
They just don't know what they're talking about. I mean, in the last 20 years, and sales justify that, 50 to 60% of the world's cigars come from Esteli, Nicaragua.
Mhm. Do you think in the modern day times, the Cuban cigars have outpriced themselves?
I think we're experiencing that right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Based upon what you paid for the Cubans that you picked up.
I certainly wouldn't buy that one again.
Well, I'll tell you, that was probably one of the better of the ones that you picked up. I haven't smoked too many Cubans, price, because of the price. But the one you smoked would be one of the ones that I would say is probably one of the better ones, based upon what I seen in your Ziploc.
Yeah.
You're not going to be impressed with the rest.
And let me tell you, the only reason I stopped there was because a friend of mine asked me to pick him up some Cuban cigars. So
Oh, okay.
I assume he's going to be mildly disappointed.
You know what it is? It's the fact that you can't readily obtain them.
That's the draw right there.
So it creates that infatuation with the Cuban cigars. But they got to understand it's all politics. And honestly, from my point of view, they're not worth the hype. I want to see how much further you can get that.
I don't want to burn your fucking chair.
It is what it is.
I don't want your cat to attack me. By the way, your concerns about the cat are null and void.
You know what it is, because he found the treat container there. He got it open.
He OD'd.
He OD'd on treats, and now he's passed out in that chair. He's probably got some cigar high going on over there. And
So just so you know, I'm a Cleveland Browns fan, so you got to
mhm.
feel sorry for me for that. I'm a Ohio State Buckeyes fan. I'm a Cleveland Indians fan, and I'm a Cleveland Cavaliers fan, pre and post LeBron James. So I'm taking my talents to South Beach.
Speaking of
Yeah.
LeBron James, do you really think he's the GOAT?
No, he's not. It's a different time. Michael Jordan will always be the GOAT.
I believe so.
He was Defensive Player of the Year. He got the championships. Other than Scottie Pippen and Tony Kukoc, you probably couldn't name any, and Dennis Rodman, you couldn't name any of the guys that played on his team,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
All right. So he would he's the go, or Larry Bird, yeah.
It's funny because I sit down and I play the NBA game with my kid
Yeah,
on the Xbox.
yeah. And you get to choose who your
You
player
get to
is.
choose who your
Yeah.
players are, and
Holy shit. Look at that, man. I'm amazed at this. And let me tell you what, I have to constantly remind myself how good my cigars are. Because I take them for granted because I get to smoke them every fucking day, right? But holy shit.
it's I've recommended them to a lot of people, and the people that have tried them,
Yeah,
that have been able to get them,
yeah.
they're just like they're really good cigars.
And by the way, if you're in Canada, see Shane. He'll tell you how to
If you're in
get
Canada,
them.
we can direct you on how to obtain them.
And if you're in the United States, you can reach out directly. But look, I prefer you go to my shops and lounges. I'm in, like approaching 35 shops nationwide. I'm in Levita in St. Charles. I'm in Cedar and Vine in Burlington, Iowa. I'm in Lux Stogie in Quincy, Illinois. I'm in Daphne, Alabama at Downtown Cigars. I'm in Prestigio Cigars in Humble, Astacedia. I never get that name right. I'm in all over Dallas. I'm in Viso Cigars in McKinney. I'm in Big Dave's in Fort Worth. I'm in the Red Phone booth in Dallas and soon to be their other locations. I'm all over the Mississippi Gulf Coast. I'm on the Florida Panhandle. Uh, expanding, my goal, it's not a lofty goal, 2 shops per month.
Hmm.
That's my goal. And then Croatian international distribution in Croatia. Uh, you know, good cigars, competitive pricing, and a great brand to partner with.
Yeah, I can speak on that. Great brand to partner with. Um,
And look, I'm in a lot of shops and lounges. I'm in shops and lounges every week. And, I always get asked, and I think it's my personal responsibility if you partner with me to share best practices from other lounges. And I think the two most important things in a lounge is one, you got to have a good humidor and a good selection, and you
yeah,
just can't do all the big names, right? You got to have some boutique brands in there. Some of my shops and lounges are 80% boutique, some of them are 50, some are less, right? You got to have good humidification, and you got to have good brands.
and speaking about those big name brands,
Holy shit, I'm even impressed.
I think a lot of those big name brands just rely on their name recognition,
Well,
but
and
their
that
cigars are not that great.
they require some of these shops and lounges, if you want to carry some of those guys, it's a $10,000 initial investment and they won't
Yeah.
even talk to you. I had one of my shops, I won't name the shop, I won't name the brand, but they make you take pictures of your shop. They make you take pictures of your humidor. And then they want to come and one of the manufacturers owners came in and he like saying he was like openly disrespectful to the shop owner and the employees about the size of their shop and their lounge. I mean, what the fuck?
Do they not realize that they started from nothing too?
You know, another reason to buy from boutique brands, and another reason to buy from boutique brands is that we're not online. We're not everywhere online. So if you're a shop or a lounge owner, they're more apt to buy bundles and boxes from you because they can't find them online. There's
Yeah,
some exclusivity
yeah.
there, right? And I'm going to ask you to carry 2 facings, 10 boxes, 10 boxes. That's all
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you to do. One to show and one to go to partner with me.
Yep.
And then I'm going to invest in you as well and make sure that you're successful.
It's one of those things with Croatian Mafia cigars. I see the type of person you are. I see the drive, and I see you being a staple in the cigar industry. And what I'm gonna ask is,
I'm going to have to ask this because I don't want to burn your cigar.
oh, you
But
got
God damn it, look at that motherfucker.
that's what, 3/4,
All right, I'm going to ask it. I hate to do
and you're gonna ash it right over the Cuban.
it. Yeah. Look at that. All right.
But I firmly believe you're gonna be a staple in the cigar industry, and it's really been an honor to associate with you. Again, like I've said, you're going to see a lot of Croatian Mafia cigars on our
And
Instagram.
thank you for the Monday Mafia. I tell everybody about that. He dedicates a
It's
Monday.
catchy, no?
Yeah, Monday
Mafia Monday?
Mafia
Yeah.
Monday, digging in the crates. That's fucking
Every Monday is dedicated to Croatian Mafia cigars.
And hey, look, we started about the same time.
Yep.
We're growing. All right. And look, I appreciate it, brother,
Oh
man.
man.
Look, I respect anybody that invests time in me and my brand, and I'm gonna do the same back.
And that's something that I can speak on you is, there's some people out there that you invest into them and they don't return it.
Well, look, I've got my whole life invested in it. This is my
Yeah.
retirement. This is my passion. This is my life. I mean, I live this every fucking day, right? And I have no choice but to succeed.
You live it, eat cheap, eat, sleep, and shit it.
That's right.
Yep.
But it's not a job. It's what I enjoy doing.
And that's the goal in life, is to take what you're passionate about and turn it into your living.
And look, I've been on the other side. I worked in IT telecom. I worked for Verizon. I supported AT&T. I worked for a company called Ring Central. And you meet great people right there. I'm on LinkedIn and I've got 3,000 followers on LinkedIn, right?
Yep.
And by the way, I got almost approaching 4,000 on Instagram, over 3,000 on Facebook. And I accomplished that on Facebook and Instagram in less than a year. And I've met a lot of great people along the way. But this is the one thing that I've done in my career that I'm 100% totally bought into.
Do you think that this business endeavor has been the most satisfying?
100%.
Yeah.
This, I'm not a religious guy. Believe it or not, I was raised a Jehovah's Witness, great people, but I'm not a Jehovah's Witness anymore. My mom still is. Shout out to my mom. But this is my religion.
Yep.
I mean, you can do this while you're walking the dog. You can do this while you go to the park. You can do this while you're at the beach. You can do this while you're golfing. You can do this while you're fishing. You want to get out of the house, right? You want to do something with your wife, introduce her to cigars, flavored cigars, whatever. Pipe tobacco is really big, right?
Yep.
In a lot of cigar shops that I go into. I mean, this is something you can do. There's been 2 conclusive studies done on cigars, and both of them came back that you're not at any risk of cancer, additional risk of cancer from smoking cigars, right? You don't inhale, it's about the journey. It's about taking an hour and a half out of your day to reflect and enjoy something. And it's a fucking cigar.
There's even been studies that people that smoke cigars live longer. And
So there was a commander general in the army after each mission, whether it was Afghanistan or Vietnam, I forget what it was. And after every mission, he would make his unit smoke cigars afterwards because it calms you down.
Yep,
You know,
it does.
And look, there's studies that show there's significant benefits to
Yeah.
nicotine.
Yeah. Well, we all need something. We all need that escape. Whether, you smoke cigarettes, you responsibly drink alcohol or smoke weed, smoke cigars. We all need that escape from reality, and something that I can say that
As long as it doesn't overtake your reality, right?
that's the big one. You can't let it take over your life. One thing that I can say when I come in here, and I come in here every night and I smoke a cigar. And, you
You-
know, I strategize, I plan.
You know what I was like? Somebody posted smoking one of my cigars in Canada. Remember the guy was outside and he smoked it. And he said,
Henry,
"This, yeah."
he was on episode
He said,
25.
"This is what you got to go through to smoke a cigar in
Yep,
Canada." And he was
yep,
outside, and his beard was fucking iced up.
yep,
He's smoking a cigar.
yep.
I said, "This is what you got to go through," and he said it was worth it.
Yeah, and he's somebody that he is in the cigar industry. He knows his cigars, and again, he said it was a fabulous cigar. That was the underboss,
Yeah, yeah.
and I was surprised he smoked it so quick. Because shout out to
Well, it was
Henry.
fucking freezing outside.
No, but in terms of he likes to let his cigars rest.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, okay, gotcha.
So from the time I gave it to him, I think it was like 1 or 2 days later, he was posting a video smoking the Croatian Mafia. Shout out to Henry. You can catch him on Instagram at cigarman.h.
Yeah,
Great guy. I can't speak about the companies that he works for,
yeah.
but he knows his shit. And again, to get that review, you're outside in the cold, freezing your ass off, smoking the cigar and saying, yeah, it's worth it. That means you got a good cigar. So before I forget, because again, I believe you're going to be a staple in the industry. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get you to sign this box here,
Awesome. And I'm gonna smoke a consigliere too next.
and I'll give you
The Sharpie.
marker there. You can sign that for me. And again, give it another 2 years.
What's today's date? 20,
I couldn't tell you.
21st, Mike?
I couldn't. I lose track of dates so easy. There we go. Croatian Mafia cigars right there. And you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. From now on, when we did our episode with Loretta, Prodigy's sister, Infamous Sis, shout out to Infamous Sis. I made her a promise. The jelly beans are always going to be there. From now on, the Croatian Mafia cigars are the official drink glass of Cigar Talk Toronto.
Awesome, my man. No matter what cigar manufacturer you have
It doesn't matter. You're going to see Croatian Mafia cigars in there somehow, some way. Again, I got the American flag up there as a tribute to all of our American followers and fans. I appreciate all you. And right on top of that flag, what do you got? The Croatian Mafia cigar.
Awesome, my man.
And that box right there is going to be on display in every single podcast.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
And I greatly appreciate. So here's the thing. Every podcast starts from zero.
You got a cutter?
Yeah. And
Thank you.
not everybody out there wants to get involved with somebody that has zero, right? And there's a few people out there that believe in us and they want to come along for the ride and they support us, and you're one of those people.
Yep.
So from now on, Croatia Mafia Cigars is going to be advertised. It's a given. You are officially a part of the podcast every episode.
Thank you, my man. I appreciate that.
And that's just because, number one, I appreciate you as a human being. I appreciate your support. I appreciate your belief in the podcast that it's going to go to the next level and then the next level
And
and the
you're
next
going on
level.
radio soon?
Yeah, I wasn't going to announce
Oh,
it,
I'm sorry.
but now I'm going to announce it. We are moving to satellite radio as well. We are going to be,
Is it XM Series?
it's, I have to get the details on that.
Okay.
They are broadcast in 40 countries. We are moving to the Block 105 radio. And shout out to DJ Mikey G. You can catch him on Instagram at I am DJ Mikey G. If not for us starting to work together, we wouldn't have come across the block. That's how it happened. And we are making the move to satellite radio. And I believe it's just number one, it's not even something I ever had in mind to go
Right,
to
something that
radio,
evolved. Right.
but it evolved. The opportunity came up. I didn't approach them, they approached me. And I'm appreciative to everybody that shares our stuff, believes in us, works with us, and you're in that bubble. And I always say that, you go on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, cigars are not in the algorithm. So I always say we have to create our own algorithm. We got to create our own support culture. And that's what I believe we're doing. And 2026 is going to be a big year. I'm
Well, man,
telling you.
here's to both our mutual success.
Of course.
Right.
And I fucking greatly appreciate it, Todd. I it's I didn't see any of this coming. And it's one of those things, I think no matter what you get into, you got to just dive in head first and you got to go with it. And whatever doors open, you got to walk through them and explore them.
So it's like, having kids, right? There's
Mhm.
never a good time to have a kid. There's never a good time to start a business. There's better and worse times, but
Mm.
you just gotta dive into it.
Yep.
And that's what I've done for the majority of my businesses, right? You just gotta go. You
Yep.
know, you can do all the planning you want. And sometimes you make a decision, and even if you make a decision not to make a decision, that's a decision, right? But
Yep.
sometimes you just gotta fucking go for it, right?
You're never prepared, and it's
Yeah.
a learning progress. No matter what you get into, you learn as you go, you adapt as you go. And when opportunity knocks, you have to take it because one thing I always believe in is you don't want to be on your deathbed going, fuck it. I wonder what would have
Well,
happened.
most people that die have a lot of regrets,
Mhm.
right? It's what they didn't do. It's not what they did do. And look, any shop owner or lounge out there, if you want to partner with somebody who's going to help drive revenue, and I'm not going to guarantee you, but I can tell you this, no matter what brands you're carrying, I will, I'm not going to guarantee you, but I can tell you this, I will be in your top 10 brands for a lot of different reasons. One, the brand speaks for itself, the quality of the cigars and the level of support that I will bring you. If I'm not in the top 10, then it's going to be something outside of those areas. But Croatian Mafia Cigars is a brand you want to partner with.
Definitely. And you know what? You're a fucking man of your word. And that's big. You could take all the fucking
It
paper
doesn't matter.
contracts in the
At the end of the
world.
day, all you have is your word, right?
That's right. And I don't care for paper contracts.
Right.
When you give somebody your word,
On contracts don't mean shit. They don't mean shit.
you give your word, you follow through with your word, and that just shows who you are as a person, as not as a man.
How many other cigar brands with owners have you had on your podcast?
So cigar owners, we've had David Gomez from Escobar Cigars, and we had
How many have come up
none. Now,
to the frozen tundra of Canada?
specifically to be here,
Yeah.
zero. It's always been if I have time or if we could make it happen.
February 21st, 2026.
February is a shitty ass month. I was born in February. I'm like, God damn, like you gave me February?
I just happened to be up here. And look, we just put this together last week, right?
Hmm.
I said, look, I'm coming up to Buffalo. I'm meeting with my business partner. I'm going to call on some shops. Let's do a podcast.
But even still, like just to make the trip across the border to say, you know what, I'm up here on business. I'm gonna come all the way to you still, and we're gonna do this podcast. That says a lot.
And I'm leaving here. I'm driving to Nickel City Cigars. I'm going to.
You don't fucking stop. You don't. It tires me out listening to your stories. But it's one of those things like it's better to tire yourself out to build your brand than to tire yourself out for somebody else to not get anything out of it. Because at the end of the day, if you work for somebody else, a corporation, this or that, you're just a number. And a lot of people, unfortunately, they tire themselves out. They give their lives to these companies that don't give one fuck about you.
My grandfather worked for U.S. Steel in Lorain, Ohio for 30 something years. He got a gold watch. And I think it was 2 years after he retired, he died. Right. We, Mike and I were just having this discussion about Social Security, right?
Yeah.
When to take it, right? And the average life expectancy is 74 years,
Yeah.
fucking take it, man. Fucking take it. You don't know what's gonna happen. Shit.
That's essentially what started all this podcast shit off for me was, I work in the trade industry. I had an accident. You walked into my house, you seen it's an open concept when you walk in all the way up.
Yep.
I was about 17 feet-ish up on a ladder. The ladder fucking slid out on me. I fell headfirst into the ground. And I was thinking, like, what good is retirement if your body's not functioning for retirement?
Right.
And then they keep wanting to push the retirement age. And I'm like, there's got to be more to life than this.
And there is.
Luckily, I found cigars.
Yeah.
And cigars open up a whole new world for me. It's got me to meet great people like yourself. And potentially, I'm not going to say potentially, it will pave a way for me to do what I enjoy doing to make a living off of. But it's a passion first. And I truly love doing this. I love sitting down, talking to people about their stories, hearing about, what their mindsets and perceptions were at this point in time that led them to this and this and this and this. We all have a story. And I think if you sit down and talk to more people about their stories, you can relate more. So essentially, Cigar Talk Toronto is just recreating the cigar lounge. And a lot of people, I guess, unless you go into a cigar lounge, you don't understand it. But that's what this is it doesn't matter where you come from. The lounge it doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter where you come from. Doesn't matter the color of your skin.
And it doesn't matter what you smoke either.
No. No.
As long as you enjoy it,
Yep.
smoke it. Right.
It,
$100 cigar, $50 cigar, Nicaraguan, Dominican, Cuban.
Yeah.
Who gives a fuck? Just enjoy it.
I always say this, every cigar has its place, right? It could be a $5.
That's why I have the flavored cigars. They all have their place.
Well, I was surprised to hear that you're going to start launching the flavored cigar line.
Yep.
And
Look, I'm not the end all be all. Nobody is, right?
No.
Everybody has their preference.
Yep.
If you like flavored cigars, fucking smoke them, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you like Worcestershire on your fucking steak, fucking eat it, right?
Mm-hmm. No, I believe just put some salt and pepper on that steak
Yeah.
and let the natural flavors come through.
So
But if you like that HP,
let me tell you how I cook my. I'm a big griller, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like a prime.
Texas, right?
Yeah, I like a prime cut. I use a dry rub. I use some Tony Sacherias, and everybody in the South knows what Tony Sacherias is. I use little Mrs. Dashes, and then I marinate it in a liquid called Allegro, and I throw that motherfucker on the grill, and I like mine medium, and that's it, man.
This is how good these cigars are. I'm literally look at this. I'm smoking this down.
To the nub.
Look at that shit. Like I'm burning my fucking lips right now.
One thing I'd like to say to all my cigar loungers out there, thank you for taking a chance on me. And, I appreciate you bringing on a new line, an unknown line. And shout out to all you guys. I tried to name all the shops and lounges that do business with me. and more things to come, great things from Croatian Mafia, and we're going to grow and expand, but we're always going to keep the same level of consistency and flavor with our cigars, and looking forward to 2026, 2027, and beyond.
And you know what? That's a perfect way to end it off. So, Todd, man, I greatly appreciate you making the trip up here.
Yep.
It's
And
been an honor to have you up here.
more to come. I expect to be in Buffalo a lot more,
Yep.
and we'll come up and do
I
it again.
can't wait to see the growth of Croatian Mafia cigars. And salute. We out. Peace.
Hasta luego.
I want to send a special shout out, Cigar Talk Toronto. Special shout out to Croatian Mafia Cigars. It's for the gangster, you nigga. It's for the gangsters. DJ Mikey G. Put some cut on that dope. Lefty Pacino. Take it personal. Take it personal. Click, clack the beam. Take it personal. I spit the caffeine. Take it personal. Feel what I mean? The 30R6 to M16s. We got them ruggin'. I'm your favorite uncle. I'm the alcoholic street niggas with the guns and the duffel. I'm the one that used to smoke the cigar and whip the truffle. The one that granny said always started trouble. The backcourt shot a triple-double. Coach kicked me out the gym cause the gun was bigger than the muscle. Now let me introduce you to the hustle. I whip the white till it locked and snip the residue above my knuckles. The epitome of street scuffle. I hit him hard with the banger. I was trying to make the belt buckle. I hit the corner and I make it bubble. What's in the pocket of my goose will make your feathers ruffle. I don't trust you. Make the gauge bust you. We keep the circle tight. You just another square if we don't discuss you. Take it Take it personal. Click, clack the beam. Take it personal. I spit the caffeine. Take it personal. Feel what I mean? The 30R6 to M16s. We gotta plug in. Take it personal. Click, clack the beam. Take it personal. I spit the caffeine. Take it personal. Feel what I mean? The 30R6 to M16s. We gotta get pillage through your village. Leave my spillage on your mistress. Attacking everything, you go on the hit list. Burn the evidence, witness. Told the lawyer eat the case with the biscuit. Looked the judge in the face and told him stick it. Smacked the plaintiff in the face and told him fix it. Tap the Henny on the bottom, then we lift it. Fully equipped, the blue beamer and it's kitted. Bend the corner 730, then we hit him. The bars leave a bad taste, so I spit them. Machete 50-50 sharp, so I split them. The black expedition put me in position. Focused on the mission, full tunnel vision. Every verse calculated, spoken with conviction. My condition is to grind every day by tradition. Built it from the dirt, self-made composition. Competition for you in me, every breath is ammunition. Take it personal. Click, clack the beam. Take it personal. I spit the caffeine.